How are you doing today? For me, today is a little bit of a migraine day. I usually get it once a month or so, and it does humble me because it really slows me down. But I thought, just as I am, I want to share encouragement to you. Maybe it can lift someone up if you're having a hard time. Because on YouTube, sometimes people look so good and well kept. I sometimes wonder, do they even have hard time? I always wonder about those things. And maybe just doing these things when you're having not so good day can be a good thing because you are just as who you are. So I want you to be like that too. Be free to be yourself. Today I was thinking about how much God we have in our lives. I was asking myself, if I didn't have God right now, will my life look different? I think sometimes I get into this illusion thinking that since I am a pastor's wife and doing a lot of church activities, I think that I have close relationship with God, but I realize that it's not true. It depends on the circumstances I'm going through. It reveals how close I am with God when I face difficulties or frustrations. When everything is good and pretty smooth, my life with God seems very intact. But when there is trouble, I think that's when it really shows my relationship quality with Jesus. I want to ask that question to you too. If God was removed from your life, if Jesus was removed from your life right now, will your life look any different? If we're honest, I think our lives don't always look that different with God in them or without Him. I think we might see that more in places like America because we are so comfortable. There's not much obstacles. I mean, there are a lot of pain and there are a lot of poverty that probably naive person like me might not know. But at least in Chicago suburbs, the people that I know, we don't lack food. We have shelter. We have cars that are moving. We have phones. We have everything we need. Yet there is a sense of longing that something is missing. There's no vibrancy. There's no livelihood. There's no peace. Outside, it looks okay, but when I look at myself inside, I wonder, will I have difference if God is in my life or not? For many of us, faith became kind of an addition to our lives, something that we add. It could be some type of a religious activity that we go to church or we go to small groups. We do certain things and it became some type of activity, but not really leaning onto a person. God is someone that we believe in, but many people that I meet actually don't bring their decisions or their pace of life or their intimate things to God simply because they don't know how. They don't know how that works. I want to talk about Martha today. I always related more to Martha than Mary. Jesus was hanging out with Martha and Mary at their house. Martha had to cook for them, obviously, right? And Jesus comes over and he's spending time. And Mary sits in front of Jesus and she's just listening, just being mesmerized about his presence and his peace. And Martha, being responsible, good at what she does, she is running back and forth from the kitchen and making stuff from probably, I think they were wealthy enough, so maybe they had servants. But later she gets really stressed out and kind of like snaps at Jesus and Mary in front of all the people. You should tell my sister to help me. Kind of like very bitter. And, I actually don't judge Martha because I was at Martha's shoes many times. I would do a lot of cooking and cleaning at church based on my role. Although I start with very joyful attitude because of the load was so much, I started kind of getting bitter at people not really helping out. And I did meet a lot of people who really didn't help out. They just love to sit and talk. When I read this verse, I felt kind of sorry for Martha. I wish Jesus at least told her, "Oh, thank you for making these food for me. Like, that is so kind of you, you know?" He didn't really say anything like that, but just told her, "Martha, Martha, you are caring too much. Mary chose the most important thing." So this phrase actually made me a little bit bitter toward Jesus because I felt that he wasn't really advocating for the hard work that Martha did for him. But after many years wrestling with this verse made me realize Jesus was not saying what Mary did was better than what Martha did. That really shocked me. He was not comparing between the two. He was just mentioning what Mary chose was important to her, most important. And when Jesus was talking to Martha, I don't think he was speaking in a very harsh voice, but in a way, very compassionate voice, because Martha was very stressed out. She had no peace. She was bitter. She was doing things for Jesus, and Jesus was actually in the same house, but she was not leaning on him. He was not the one who was carrying the main load, but it was Martha who was running and carrying the main load of the work. And it was too much for Martha because you could tell she was stressed out. I think Jesus saw that, and he was telling Martha that your peace, you leaning onto me and giving me that burdens that is too heavy for you to carry, is more important than doing these things for me. So that when you're actually doing these things for me, you are in peace, you're joyful, you're yourself, that you don't think that you're alone. So years later, when I was wrestling with this verse again, God showed me that part. Oh, so he is not saying that what I'm doing at church is not really important. He's actually worried about me. He's actually caring for me. He doesn't want me to burn out and doing things without Jesus. For me, it wasn't distractions or bad things that made me pull away from Jesus's peace. It was actually good stuff. We had more new people at our church at a certain time. There's so much need to watch the kids during service. So I jumped in. And I don't think that was bad, but I think I was running with self-reliance mindset where I was doing things on my own. And I don't think that was ever God's intention for my life. I think God really wanted me to lean onto him and ask him to help me when I was doing those things. Somewhere along the way, those good things became more central than intimacy with God. And although I was doing many good things, if I were to go back to my young 30s, I would tell myself, Julie, it's okay. It's okay. What you're doing is very important, but you need to ask God because God can give you more capacity and energy. It's okay to stop. It's okay to say no. Back then, I just thought saying yes to the most important things, which was relating to God's people, was way more important than taking care of my needs or myself. What happened to me was I started seeing myself rushing to places. That's very fragile, like thin line that I'm very aware of in my life. When I cross that road, it comes out in I become very sharp. One time during that season, my husband was like saying, "Hey, honey, you are very mean to your kids right now." And then all of a sudden, when he told me that, I wasn't humble or, teachable. I snapped back at him like, "What do you mean? I think I'm fine." I'm very defensive. So those are the key signs for my life when I become self-reliant and I put all the things that I actually can do by myself, but without God. I looked like I was handling things, but after a certain period of time, there are limited resources, limited energy. So it's like you're running the car with emptied gas. So you see fumes coming out of the engine. That was me. So back to the question that we talked about. This is how we can live our lives. We are so good at being self-reliant. We don't need God's help. Think about it today. Were you able to go through the day without God? Many times I do. I don't need God washing the dishes or doing some errands. I don't need God to do some certain work for me that I'm used to doing it, right? But what I realize is that if I don't invite Him in those in between spaces, if I am not breathing with Him, I can do the task. But at the end of the day, my soul is flat. There's something missing. And maybe you might think, oh, at night I will just connect with Him. I did that too for many times. But it's not enough to breathe in Him in 10-minute devotion. You need to bring Him in to your small places. Like today, I had to go to bank, and I've been going to bank many times this week to handle the issues that I have right now. And even before going there, if I was rushing and without thinking if I was heading out the door, I would just do things on my own. But I sensed God wanted me to talk to Him about it. So I did. I said, God, I still have like 10 more listing to do to solve this issue that I have in my life. So I'm going to the bank and I have to talk to the representative. Would you be with me? I need you to come with me. So that's kind of like my recent motto with Him. I would say, Lord, would you come with me, please? So that the process is fun. We would sit together in the car and I would drive, either listening to the songs. It's a fun drive. I'm not alone there. And I would go into the bank with Him too. As I'm waiting and I'm signing my name, I talk to Him. And that's where God delights. And that's where God delights because He loves to lift up my burdens. So if you are going through the day without God, I want you to know that you're not meant to live like that. You could actually live with God every moment of the day. And that will really breathe life into your spirit and your soul. That even doing simple tasks like cleaning the toilet will be filled with God's presence, filled with His joy. That's how we're meant to live. Even doing small things, being filled by Him, walking with Him. Because for eternity, we'll be doing that. And He wants us to start here with Him. So the blessing prayer that I want to read for you is, may you be freed from carrying burdens you were never meant to hold alone. May you learn that God does not ask for your exhaustion, but your presence. May your work flow from intimacy and your discipline protect your peace. And may you find rest, not by doing less for God, but by walking more closely with Him. Amen. I pray that God will lift your burdens today. And I pray that you will remember you don't have to carry all that burdens on your own. You have a helper right next to you. So God bless you, and until we meet again.